approved.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, County Council. Thank you. Almighty God, we give thanks for the great blessings which have been bestowed on Canada and its citizens, including the gifts of freedom, opportunity, peace, and joy. Guide us in our deliberations as county councilors, and strengthen us in our awareness of our duties and responsibilities. Grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to preserve the blessings of this country for the benefit of all, and include laws and our citizens. Amen.
I want to hear you today, please. Okay. Not yet.
Mr. Hutton, could you conduct a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Councillor Doncaster. Present. Councillor Donahue. Here. Warden Emo.
Present.
Councillor Farr. Councillor Gibson.
Yes.
Councillor Grunt. Here. Councillor Kingsbury.
Present.
Councillor Lund.
Present.
Councillor McKay. Councillor Miller.
Here.
Councillor Murphy.
Here.
Councillor Beckett.
Present.
Councillor Reinwald.
Present.
Councillor Robinson.
Here.
Councillor Stack.
Here.
Councillor Sweet.
Present.
Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
Here.
Thank you. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Thank you. The minutes of County Council session dated November 27 were approved by the Warden and Clerk. Adoption of the December 16, 2014 are on the website, and we require a motion. Motion from Councillor Wisniewski-Moore, second by Councillor Murphy. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. They're carried. Thank you. Members of County Council, during the month of January, I've attended 18 meetings on county business. On January 11th, I attended the open house in honor of Jack Wilson, former mayor of the Township of Laurentian Valley, held at the Shady Nook Recreation Center. On January 14 and 21, I taped another edition of Up to the Minute with Cogeco. This month's topic was Winter Carnivals throughout Renfrew County, Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus initiatives, and the Canadian Nuclear Laboratories GOCO process. On January 15 and 16, I attended the inaugural meeting of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus held in Kingston. The 2015 chair of the Wardens Caucus is Warden Eric Duncan of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry. Economic development in Eastern Ontario continues to be a key priority for the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, and a resolution supporting Renfrew County's position on Canadian Nuclear Laboratories was passed by the caucus. On January 21, I attended the Renfrew County United Way 2014 campaign touchdown reception held at Rotary Hall in Wilshire Manor. The United Way's goal for 2014 was $400,000, and although the final numbers aren't in, it is anticipated it will have exceeded the goal. Congratulations to United Way and our community for supporting the United Way. On January 22, I made a presentation to the Borough Council regarding the Canadian Nuclear Laboratories GOCO initiative. Through the Warden's Caucus, I will be addressing this initiative at the multi-ministerial panel at Roma Progress. On January 31, I'll be attending the Upper Ottawa Valley Chambers of Commerce Achievement Awards Gala at Festival Hall in Pembroke. This concludes my address for this session of County Council. On your desk, you will find 2 copies of the 2014 yearbook. One copy is for yourself and any other ones for your office. We'll also be mailing out the copies of the yearbook to the members of County Council who sat here last year. And if you look at your agenda, you'll see that at 12:45 we are going to be having our council photo. If you look around the room, you'll see photos from years gone by, as well as in the room off to the side. It's my pleasure to introduce to you now Mr. Gary Churchill, who is here to review the changes or give us an overview of the changes of the Renfrew County Senior Games. Mr. Churchill is a resident of the Eganville area and a longtime member of the Seniors Organizing Committee. Mr. Churchill, please.
I have 50 bucks. Good morning, not afternoon. Do I have to use this or?
There's a mic which makes it easier.
Well, I do walk around too, so. As introduced, my name is Gary Churchill. I'm the chairperson of the Renfrew County Seniors 55 Plus Games. We've added the 55 in because a lot of people thought seniors started at 65, but we now start at 55, like a lot of other places. Oh, I don't have my glasses with me. Sorry, apologize. Like I say, I do walk around, but we have made some changes to the senior games in Renfrew County. As you know, in past years, we've always had a host committee which would move around to the different communities. Last year was Deep River, the year before was Pembroke. This year is supposed to be Eganville. But due to the size of Renfrew County and trying to get volunteers, as you well know, it's getting harder and harder. What we've always done in the past is we've had an overall Renfrew County committee, and then we would have a host committee of that town that would be putting on the games. But due to the towns that don't have, or the communities that don't have all of the venues for our games, we've always had to use other communities to do some of the events and some of the games. We do, just to give you an idea, the mission statement is to provide 55 plus adults in Ontario with an opportunity to increase their social interaction with others, increase their physical and mental well-being through participation in recreation, activities, and sports, and promote active living, 55 adults in Ontario. This is the overall OSGA, the Ontario Senior Games Association. The goals is to expand and develop their social interaction, to provide an environment that simulates physical activity, provide an environment conducive to mental development, increase participation in recreational activities, and to facilitate more occupation and communication between 55 plus adult groups within Ontario. That's our mission and our goal. That's throughout the Ontario and throughout the districts. Just to give you some idea, the district, we have 35 districts in Ontario, which Renfrew County is one of the districts, and we're District 5. We've been going for, I think, about 25 years. So we have evolved over the years and have done quite a bit. Right now, because we're making some changes, I should step back a minute. We do 2 things. We do passive events and we do active events. Passive events such as euchre, cribbage, bridge, active events, golf, curling, cycling, running, walking, those type of things. So we have 2 different types of activities that we put on every summer. We've gone from going 1 day for activities to 2 weeks, we tried it, and we've gone to 3 days. This year, because of some of the changes we've made, we're going to be doing it over a period of a month. We have got rid of the host committees and host communities. We've gone to one committee using all of Renfrew County. Events will be done throughout Renfrew, throughout the county on over a month period. For example, we're doing one of the games are up in Barry's Bay, and I can't think of the name of which one it is. We're doing swimming in Arnprior, Pembroke, and Deep River. We're doing cards in Eganville. We're doing bowling in Renfrew. So we're using the whole county. So we don't need to have community host communities anymore. We got this struck this past fall in September, which I was a big component of it. We were having problems trying to get people. So now what we've done is we've had one committee. We use the whole of Renfrew County to put this on. For example, our budget this year is about $10,000, and we also put on a banquet at the end if we can get enough people to sign up for it. We do a lot of fundraising, or we try to do fundraising. We go after, I'm sorry, we always ask the townships and stuff to support us in money-wise and in venue-wise as well. The arena, for example, the supper is going to be this year in Eganville, so we've already secured the arena for our banquet. So these type of things, so we don't have to pay for them. We've also asked the counties, and I've sent out memos to, or emails to all the rec people in Renfrew County that's associated with the communities. We've got 4 or 5 on board right now, which are helping, which is Paul Knopper from Madawaska, I believe he is. We have Colin from Petawawa. We have Jay Koch from Arnprior. We've used Jordan and Susan here in town. We have Christine up in Deep River. The one thing I would ask, though, from you folks is when we do have our meetings, if your rec people could come to them. I chair the meetings, and I try to hold the meetings to 2 hours maximum. I've been doing pretty good so far. So I don't want to take up a lot of time when they come there, so people have to be prepared when they come to the meetings that they've sent me the information ahead of time. I'm like you folks, I hate sitting in a meeting for 3, 4, 5 hours. So let's get the work done, get it done quick. The rec people that have been on board so far have been excellent. They've come out, they've helped, they said, yeah, we'll look after this for you, we'll try and get this information or that information. We do brochures, we do posters and things like that to get out to people. That's where a lot of our costs come in. We've had help in the past from Chartwell. They used to donate $5,000 to the Renfrew Games. They have now cut that back to about 500. So we're always looking for more some way. We've tried magazines in the past, but trying to get advertising for it's been very tough. So we use a generic one, the one that you've got on your table. One of the things we're adding in this year is there's a brochure inside that looks like this. It's a page insert, 4 pages. This is just a rough draft right now. I've had it done up. We've been going through it to make sure whatever changes we do need to get it into our book. We go into the Petawawa Showcase. We have a table there, so get promoted out. We also like for the county, for the villages and townships, if they have a billboard. I know in Eganville we have our big billboard outside, the electronic one. If we can get on those to promote it when it gets closer to the games in May. We're running them from May 1st to June the 4th this year. I'm sorry, I don't do notes, and I don't do stuff ahead of time, so it's all through my mind. Is there anything that you'd like to ask me about what's going on and what we can do? Most of you have heard of the Renfrew Games, so
I'm not sure if you've been involved, but that's about all I wanted to. I just wanted to bring you up to date and let you know that we are only one committee and not two committees trying to butt heads to try and get things done. I think it's very important that we get this out. At one time, we used to have 400 or 500 participants. We're down to about 200 now. So we would like the municipalities to try and get information out as best you can through newsletters that you put out or whatever about what's going on. You can get in touch with me through Eganville if you need some more information or if you would like something else.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Gibson?
Mr. Churchill, I realize Stonecliff and Edgewater is up at the upper end of the county, but we have a newly renovated hall that we would certainly be prepared to donate at no cost whatsoever for any of your passive games. So if you want to keep that in mind, if you're stuck or any.
I definitely will. Yeah. We want to reuse as much of the county as possible. Like, it's not going to be every year that we're going to use Berry's Bay to do. They may not do anything next year, but this year they're putting on one of the events. Now, some of the events, lawn bowling, we have to use Deep River. It's the only place that has it, so we have to do it. And we only have bowling in one place, so we have to use it. But we'd like to move some of the events around. We do summer and winter games. I'm trying to promote more winter games next year, so that would be like duplicate bridge, curling. I wish we can do downhill skiing, but to get the venue is very expensive. So the other thing that, oh geez, good thing I thought about it. The other thing that's going to happen in 2017, we have a 150th anniversary. We are hoping to promote and do the Eastern Regional Games in Renfrew County. That means about 400 to 500 people coming in from Eastern Ontario that have won in their districts to come to Renfrew County, participate in, I think, probably about 15 or 17 different events, active and passive events. So I would really like for the county, and I know Pembroke's not part of the Renfrew County Board, so I have to talk to them too about it, but I would really like for the county to be on board for this, because this is going to be a big deal. With what's going on in the 150th anniversary, and if we can put on the Eastern Games here in Renfrew, Renfrew County would be excellent. You know, I think it would be a great promotion for Renfrew County. So I'll be looking for more from you folks in the next year. We'll be striking a committee this summer for the games for 2017. Just to let you know that when we put the games on, we have gold, silver medal, gold, silver, bronze. They can go on to Ontario Games, which last year was done in Windsor, and the year before Brampton. Next year it's going to be in Midland in 2016. Then you can go on from there to the Canada Games. I've been fortunate. I've been to the Eastern Regional Games, I've been to the Ontario Games twice, and I've been to the Canada Games twice. By the way, we do have to pay our own way there. Get there and get back to these events. So, but you take it as a holiday as well. And just to give you an idea, in Edmonton this past summer, there was 2,500 participants in Edmonton from across Canada. It was fantastic. Anyway, that's beyond what we're doing here in Renfrew County, but we want to promote those through Renfrew County as well, through the Renfrew Games. Any other questions? The books are yours. By the way, the lady on the front cover is mid-90s, and she has won more gold medals in the Ontario Games and the Canada Games. Read about her. She is fantastic. She's a javelin and high jumper. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. We will be asking you and coming to you for some support in the future. Warden, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the overview, and also to our member communities, thank you for your support of this initiative by by providing facilities and some of your staff resources. This certainly is a great initiative that's been going on for a number of years, and it's nice to see that they're using the breadth of the county, and thank you, Councillor Gibson, by getting the event in Head Clare and Mariah. That's certainly the breadth of the county. And with that, move into the rest of the agenda. Chair Stack, financial admin, please. Oh, I'm sorry, correspondence.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. I have one piece of correspondence. It is a thank you letter from former Mayor of Renfrew Valley, Jack Wilson, and the Wilson family, and former acting warden Wilson, regarding thank you for the flowers to Ward Nemo Council staff regarding the passing of. That's all I have for correspondence, Mr. Ward.
Thank you. Chair Stack, finance and admin.
Thank you, Warden. We, your Finance and Administration Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows. Number 1 is council remuneration for your review. Number 2 is a treasurer's report. Number 3 is a municipal property assessment corporation informing us of a 0.95% increase for the 15 amount of $1,514,289.35. And the Renfrew County District Health Unit with a similar message for us with the invoice for 2015 of $1.459,535,000. Staff updates number 5. We wish to offer congratulations to Ms. Jeanette Gould, who has accepted the manager's position at the POA office. Thank you, Jeanette. Bill 18, Stronger Workplace, and the issue addresses the issue of volunteers and their coverage, so you should read that and become familiar with it. Number 7 is Administrative Services Only Plan Analysis of the County of Renfrew, and the summary there is we have a rebate of $6,347.24 on the HST, or the Goods and Services Tax, sorry. Municipal Benefits Committee met, and the good news in this story is that there will be another premium holiday for 4 months from March 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2015. Surplus to the county was $470,445. Number 9 is an interim summary of grants for your review. 10 is a joint and several liability insurance issue that the province hasn't moved on, but the commitment for able to continue to advocate for reforms on this issue. 11 is a clarification of federal gas tax fund payments to assure us that there is a formula that won't change that for the next little while. Resolution number FA-CC-15-01-07, moved by Chair and Committee. The County Council authorized payment of the Ontario Municipal Insurance Exchange OMEX for retroactive assessment for 2002-2012 in the full amount of $638,768, excluding DST, to be paid on before January 31st, 2015, and record a financial liability to the County of Renfrew, 2014. I just missed the page. I thought there was another resolution in there. And it was the OMEX supplementary assessment, which is number 12. Sorry about the confusion. And the first resolution on that was FA-CC-1405-66, moved by Chair and Second Committee that the County Council defer a decision on financing of the payment to the Ontario Municipal Insurance Exchange until December of 2014, once staff is better able to forecast the county's surplus deficit position. And further, that in the event the insurance surpluses exist at year-end to cover the full amount, our committee may recommend using reserves funds to supplement or defer to a 3-year payment plan offered by OMEX. Again, I'm sorry, I read those resolutions in reverse. 13 is their association membership fee for AMO, and there's a resolution there that the year 2015 membership in Association of Municipalities of Ontario in the amount of $848.60, including HST, be approved. Number 14, with fees for Federation of Canadian municipalities, and resolution number FA-CC-15-01-10, moved by chair and seconded by committee, that the year 2015 memberships of Federation of Canadian Municipalities in the amount of $12,418.79, including HST, be approved. Number 15 in bylaws, and employment bylaw number 1, non-union lifetime maximums. And the committee has a recommendation here in resolution number FA-CC-15-01-04, moved by chair and seconded by committee, that the county council approve that the lifetime maximum for benefits claimed be increased from $50,000 to $75,000 for all non-union employees who retire after March 1st, 2015. And further, that revised employment bylaw number 1 be adopted at the February session of county council. Number 16 is mileage allowances, and this is just in keeping with the practice of following the federal government's rate for mileage allowances, and resolution number FA-CC-15-01-15, moved by chair and seconded by committee, that the county council increase the mileage rates from 0.54 cents per kilometer to 0.55 cents per kilometer for the first 5,000 kilometers per year, and from 0.48 per kilometer to 0.49 per kilometer for all kilometers over 5,000 per year, effective January 1st, 15. And further, that a revised employment bylaw number 1 be adopted at the February session of county council. Number 17 is the obvious result of our budget workshop. And the council workshop was on January 21st, and there was a resolution or motion moved by Councillor Janice Wisniewski-Moore and Councillor Jennifer Murphy, that a bylaw to adopt the estimate of the sums required during the year for 2015 for general, capital, and all purposes of the County of Renfrew in the amount of $38,697,229 be adopted at the next session of County Council. And further, that the 2015 tax rates for county purposes be adopted by bylaw after the adoption of the 2015 tax policy bylaws. And further, that $200,000 be moved from the working capital reserve to the public works equipment reserve. Number 18, the bylaw to authorize insurance coverage for the county of Renfrew. And we received a renewal on our premiums, which for 2015 will be $530,751. It's a 3% increase. Resolution is number FA-CC-15-01-08. The county adopt a bylaw to authorize insurance coverage for the county of Renfrew at this session of county council. And number 19 is the Municipal Act 1/3 tax-free allowance for remuneration. And the resolution number FA-CC-15-01-01, moved by chair and second committee, that a bylaw retaining the 1/3 tax-free allowance for remuneration be paid to then for 2014-2018 term of council be adopted at this session of county council, all of which is respectfully submitted. WTAC chair and committee members Emo, Love, Miller, Robertson, Sweets, and Wisniewski-Moore. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, questions, concerns, members of council for item number 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, 5, item 6, item 7. Councillor Gibson, please.
Chair, I'm wondering if our bill to the legal firm exceeded the savings.
We can get back to you on that. That wasn't recorded. Okay, Mr. Beakley, please.
Through you, Mr. Warden, to the floor. There was no charges. There was a recovery in the process, 35%.
Thank you. Item 8, item 9, 10, 11, item 12. The minutes, when you see them, will not reflect the first resolution because that was passed in May. It will only reflect the second resolution. Item 13, item 14. I should note that by the county paying this fee, membership flows down to your local municipalities. So, this is a very good deal for all 18 corporations, 17 of you and the 18th one based in the county. Item number 15. Item 16. Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Warden. I realize this is a federal initiative, but I'm a little perplexed at the fact that the mileage allowance decreases after 5,000 kilometers, when in fact one of the greatest depreciations on your vehicle is high mileage.
Mr. Beakley, please.
Through you, Mr. Warden, to the floor, Council. So ultimately, those are the federal rules. So ultimately, if we raise the bar beyond 5,000, all your kilometers become a taxable benefit, and you get more impact to you negatively.
And being a frequent flyer, that would concern me. Item number 18. I'm sorry, did I miss anything? 17? I'm sorry, 17? I already checked it off, sorry. You guys weren't keeping up to my pen. Item 18. Item 19. Report as a whole. Councilor Murphy, please.
Thank you, Warden. Could we add my name in? Somehow I'm not part of this committee
I
anymore.
was looking at it.
It's not on the committee.
We've added it on the.
Just so that, yeah.
We added on the corrected copy, thank you.
Yeah.
Any comments on the report as a whole? No, none seeing none. Mover, please.
So moved.
All right, discussion? I'm sorry, did you have a comment? No, okay, thanks. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried. Thank you, Council. Finance and Administration, Operations, Chair Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. To the Council, County of Renfrew, your Operations Committee wish to report. Number one is winter operations. Number two is the monthly treasurer's report. As you can see, the under and overs leave us with an approximate surplus of $601,900. Number three is the OCIF. We're obviously waiting to hear about that in early February, hopefully, or around Good Roads. Number four is the Ontario Good Roads Conference that's coming up. If anybody I think we're a little late for delegation now. Number five, County Road 51, meetings being arranged with our MP and our MPP. Resolutions. Number six, Highway 17 expansion. I'll go right to the resolution. Number OPCC 1501-06. Moved by the chair, seconded by committee, that the following resolution be endorsed. Whereas the Highway 417 corridor is the vital economic link for the County of Renfrew, providing for the transportation of goods and services to interprovincial and international destinations, as well as tangible benefits to our tourism and recreation industries. And whereas the Highway 417 network is an integral part of the Trans-Canada Highway and a core route in the National Highway Network. And whereas Canadian Nuclear Laboratories and Garrison Petawawa rely extensively on this highway network as well. And whereas the province of Ontario has invested millions of dollars in the extension of Highway 417 from the west end of the city of Ottawa up to and including the town of Renfrew. And whereas the extension of Highway 417 beyond Shield Drive currently is not included in the province's 5-year Southern Highways program. And whereas the extension of 417 to the town of Renfrew would connect existing major highways both in the province of Ontario and the province of Quebec. And whereas a priority should be given to extending Highway 417 to the town of Renfrew, and that this priority should be reflected in the provincial 5-year Southern Highways program in order to optimize the province's investment to date in Highway 417. Now therefore be it resolved that the province of Ontario be requested to designate the extension of Highway 417 from Shield Drive to the town of Renfrew as a priority project, and that it be reflected in the province's 5-year Southern Highways program, and further that this resolution be forwarded to the Premier, the Minister of Transportation, and to MP Cheryl Gallant and MPP John Yakubuski. Bylaws. Number 7, County Road 51, Petawawa Boulevard. If we move down, resolution number OPCC 150108, moved by the chair, seconded by committee, that the road access agreement between Robert David Kruger and Peter James Banner and the County of Renfrew be approved, and that a bylaw to authorize the execution of the road access agreement be passed, all of which is respectfully submitted by myself as chair. Committee members Donahue, Heeman, Farr, Bruns, Kingsbury, and Peckett. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, questions, concerns from council for item number 1? Item 2. I'm sorry, Councillor Robinson.
Mr. Ward, I'm just wondering if you get an explanation for the under and over expenditures.
Sure. Through the chair to Mr. Boland.
Yeah.
Mr. Boland, please.
Thank you, Warden. Good morning, Council. Yes, in terms of the overages and the underages, in terms of infrastructure management, under expenditure there is due to a number of studies that were identified that were not able to be completed in 2014. And we had some projects that, excuse me, some items in that budget line that actually turned into projects, and they will be capitalized and they move into the capital side of the budget document or the budget for the department. In terms of administration, the biggest single cost there in terms of overage is the OMEX repayment that's required that Chair Stack spoke about, or Councillor Stack spoke about earlier under finance report. Maintenance over expenditure primarily in the winter operations area in 2014, as well as some additional costs relative to traffic signals and street light maintenance throughout the system. In equipment, over expenditure there is really not an over expenditure as much as an under revenue. We typically have budgeted in the past for revenues generated through the use of our own equipment. In other words, we rent the equipment to ourselves on our day labor construction program. In 2014, we didn't utilize our equipment to the same extent, and as such, the revenue generation was considerably less. Housing, minor under expenditure there due to some small savings in some of our housing renovations and housing repairs. And on the capital works program, that was largely due to very beneficial pricing that we saw throughout the year, as well as some projects that we were not able to complete in 2014 that are carried over into 2015. Dunn Street reconstruction being probably the largest one of those projects that we weren't able to complete. So overall, we're projecting a surplus of approximately $600,000, as Chair Murphy mentioned earlier.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? Right, thank you. Seeing none, I'll move on to item number 3. Item 4. Item 5. Item 6. Councillor Sweet.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I'm the gentleman who brought this forward, so I think I have to talk to it and speak to it. But I think there's some information that those that were not in the chamber when the regional director was in place, when I suggested that to the MTO, that perhaps I should clarify and give an understanding of what the intent of what I was trying to do was all about. At that time, I indicated to Catherine Moore, the regional director of MTO, that had they ever considered four-laning the highway from the west to east to meet in the center somewhere, as the highway went west from Arnprior or from Queensway, whatever. And I didn't get an exact no, but I did get an exact yes. However, they had acquired certain lands within that corridor, so it seemed to me that was an intent somewhere along the line to four-lane that highway. I also indicated at that time, Mr. Morton, as you recall, that I did not want to see this happen at the expense of the project that was in place from Arnprior, we'll say, going west. That was not acceptable. What I was looking for was additional funding to take a look at that. And that's for a number of reasons. This was not something that was just sort of an idea that popped into my head. I have a lot of data and a lot of information that I have that I would be prepared and pleased to share with County Council. Of interest, perhaps, is a letter that I received as a result of correspondence I had with the Premier's office, and she has instructed Catherine Moore to write to me, and I think it was circulated to the county of Renfrew as well with regards to this. Of interest to me is that at this particular point in time, they do not have the land in place. They're trying to acquire the land from Arnprior up into Renfrew. That's number one. Number two, they do have the land apparently in place from the bottom of Meath Hill or thereabouts, or Cobden, right up to the other side of Petawawa. That land is in place, ready to be forelayed. Interestingly enough, and I think this is something that we definitely have to take a look at, is in this letter she also indicates that if we were to try and do this 80 kilometers, we need to complete preliminary design and environmental assessment studies to update, and I think this is an important number, to update the 1970 expansion plan. That is the plan that they're using on this particular highway. 1970, that's a period of 45 years. For the benefit of those in the chamber, and we have the information to substantiate this, this project of four-laning started by a direction of a former premier of the province of Ontario, a gentleman by the name of Leslie Frost. Leslie Frost was in place in 1955. If you do the numbers, that's 60-odd years that it's taken to get from the middle of the Queensway up to where it is in Arnprior. To me, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable as far as the economic impact that two major groups have within Renfrew County, and the gridlock that we see constantly. Apart from the safety issue, and I have the numbers here from the safety issue, it speaks to the numbers of individuals who have lost their lives on this highway as a result of crashes, accidents, etc., and it's substantial. When I take a look at this situation, and we've done a very in-depth analysis of this, and I was going to suggest, Mr. Warden, that we send this whole thing back to have another look either at operations or at development of property, to develop a business plan or take a look at revamping the business plan. There's 8,000 plus individuals that are employed in Garrison Petawawa. In the last 2 years, 520, 530 individuals joined the base, the garrison. That's just aggravated the situation. There's 3,000 or thereabouts individuals that work at Atomic Energy or Canadian Nuclear Laboratories. I'll get used to that. When you combine those, that's over 11,000 individuals. That's 22% of the workforce, eligible workforce within the county of Renfrew, that work in a compressed area between Petawawa or Garrison Petawawa and Atomic Energy, or pardon me, Chopra, Canadian Nuclear Laboratories, pardon me. 53% of the population live in that particular area as well. And I think we owe it to those individuals to take a look at this situation again and press the province of Ontario to speed up the four-laning of this particular highway. To me, it's unacceptable. Taken 65 years to get from the center of the city of Ottawa to where it is at this point in time, and that is in just west of Arnprior, with nothing included in the 5-year plan at this point in time, funding or otherwise, and they're in the process of acquiring some land. So I wanted to bring this to the table because I think it's absolutely key and crucial. I talked about 10,000 employed, 11,000 employees. To put that into perspective, currently employed with General Motors out of Oshawa and Alliston are 10,300 individuals. We're going to lose 2,500 of those to the closure of the Camaro plant, which puts them down to something like 7,800. That puts us about 4,000 individual employees above there. It's bigger than Chrysler, it's bigger, that combined group up there is bigger than Chrysler, bigger than Honda, bigger than Toyota. They are a major force, and I can tell you, for those who have to work and drive daily on that highway, there is absolute gridlock. It's amazing to think that here in Renfrew County we have gridlock. We have gridlock on County Road 51. We have gridlock really and truthfully on Highway 417. Apart from the fact that a number of individuals have lost their lives on there, and I have the numbers here, there are 25 in the last 4 years, they're all west of Cobden. There are, and this is unacceptable, There are 10 traffic lights on the Trans-Canada Highway. 10 of them. One set of traffic lights is within 1.5 kilometers of one another. And I can tell you, I don't know if any of you have driven the transport, but I can tell you, traveling behind those transports, when they get moving, it takes them not, they don't get up to warp speed. And as maybe Councillor Wisniewski knows, as a person who travels, whose industry deals with logging trucks, etc., you get 110,000 pounds on board one of those transports, and you get 2 or 3 of them aboard. It's a major, major problem. When I talked to Minister Shirelli, when I presented the business plan to him, he was very concerned about how we were going to get the goods and service, the goods, I should say, from the Ring of Fire down to the various areas in southern Ontario. When we took out the railway, or when they took out the railway, that left us 2 lanes of asphalt. The Ring of Fire is a major, major, major economic driver in the northern part of the province of Ontario. And part of our business plan, and I'll leave it to you, it says that from a provincial perspective, it is recognized that Highway 417 through the county is the key trucking and automobile route to the expanding mine and processing activities of Northern Ontario. To me, that says it all. If we're not prepared to make a move to make that happen, then I don't know why we're going to get all of this truck and traffic through our community safely and down to the various markets. So, Mr. Warden, having said that, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about this. I have a 15-page document here that I would be prepared or pleased to give to whomever you choose, be it operations or development of property, to revisit the business case that we presented. I think it's extremely important. I'm not asking to replace the west to the east to the west. I'm simply saying it's time that we approach the province to get additional money to look after the rest of the highway right up to Stonecliff and beyond, and 4-lane as part of the Trans-Canada. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Councillor Stack in a second. Just a couple points of clarity. When this came to operations, I was chairing the meeting in the absence of Councillor Murphy and with the endorsement of Vice Chair Councillor Donahue. The conversation at the committee was not about the merit of the idea. It was the wording, for the most part, of the motion, and wanting to ensure a couple of things. One was that Council has in the past moved to the business case model of presenting information to the province, and hopefully away from the demand motion model, which doesn't educate and it doesn't justify a stance. So that was primarily the issue for not endorsing the motion. And while part of our discussion was that it made sense to review the previous report and as well to talk about, as you pointed out, the importance of the federal investment in this area. And we think that then, in combination with the ongoing expansion of the federal investment through more troops and infrastructure arriving at Garrison Petawawa, and then also with the ACL/CNL, now CNL GoPro process, and the $300 million that the federal government has since invested onto the Chalk River site, we felt at this time it makes perfect sense, because we've always said that the province and the feds should be partnering on the Trans-Canada Highway system. We've noted it's the Trans-Canada Highway system. We've heard on a number of occasions the federal government is seemingly there and willing to do it, but can't, I don't know, the phone system doesn't seem to work between Ottawa and Toronto, so I figured out that problem. And if they need to, I will carry a letter and hand deliver it for them. But so we think that this instance, this bulge between Beefhill and west of Stonecliff makes the perfect case for the federal government to partner with the province of Ontario to further supplement and or cement the federal investment in this community, in this portion of the province. We agree with the premise about being a major trucking route through northern Ontario and across central Ontario as well. So to that end, what I would suggest to council is the direction would be to staff to have the Development and Property Committee with supplementation from Mr. Bolin, given his connections to the Team 17. That it makes sense that we move forward and they present back to committee if possible in February an outline as to updating our business case, because the business case is about 3 years old. And it's a natural progression for us to do that. It's a natural progression to review it, and then secondly, to take into consideration the problems or the choke points on Highway 17. We all know about the number of lights that are on Highway 17 from Renfrew westward, and the problems that causes. We also know the transportation routes for the county that are important, which intersect or cross over Highway 17. So those are the things I think, as we move forward, the business case would focus on, with the added information of quantifying the economic activity that's tied to Highway 17, and especially using the federal investment in the area and leveraging that, because frankly it's an election year, federal election year, and you know, not being able to read the tea leaves any better than the pundits, I would suggest to you that it's going to be an interesting federal election. So with that, I think all of those things would suggest to us it behooves us to go back to our business case and review it. And so that, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to center the discussion on that point. So having said that, Councillor Sweet, or Councillor Stack.
Thank you, Warden. It's, for the first time in years, the Prime Minister and the Premier of Ontario did sit down and talk, and they did talk about housing. I don't know how we missed getting them focused on infrastructure, or road infrastructure, but I agree. You know, our plan there, I think it should be economic and development, and you know, as a former chair of operations, you know, we had a number of meetings in Toronto, and that economic plan was the driving document that we used. It is 3 or 4 years old. I have a couple observations. I think it's imperative that from our part of Renfrew stay as a focus part of that 417, because as we said over the years, it connects with all of those secondary highways then that feed all the way through the rest of the county, and that's an important fact. The issue that Mayor Sweet brings forward in terms of Pembroke and West is one that we've had some casual conversations about, and I agree is an issue that needs to be looked at. When you have all of these dialogues, from committee meetings to the presentations in Toronto to when the former minister came to Renfrew, you know, one of the things that happens in those processes is you have these little side conversations. And, you know, some of the ones that I recall was, you know, when we get to Renfrew, then the next chunk is up past Cobden. And as the understanding was, unless things have changed, Highway 17 isn't going to be on this side of that lake. It's going to be on the other side. They have very little property. Have done very little in terms of environment, you know. And I was always in the back of my mind, I would hope when we got to Renfrew that the issue around going up the other side of that lake doesn't stall the progress of 417, because it's going to be big dollars compared to the rest of it. It's going to take more studies. There are going to be more, you know, public processes in it and all that. So I saw an eagerness to get to Renfrew in terms of dialogue, but beyond that, I didn't, you know, it was really, well, we're not really sure, we don't own all the properties, we haven't got all the studies, and these are, you know, unofficial comments and clarifying on side dialogue. So if there is going to be, if we have former delegations or meetings with the ministers, we should try to get that point clarified. If there is going to be some kind of an extended delay because of that of the highway and where it's going, then there's no reason for them, in my mind, not to start looking at an area where they already own property and where there is demand and issues. So I think, you know, I absolutely support it going back to development property and having the economic study updated. But I think that we need to be driving this from two ends. We want to hit that Renfrew connection. We want to make sure that the whole 17 becomes, as the mayor says, not a 65-year plan to get it through. But if there is going to be some unavoidable delay over that chunk in the middle, then there's no reason why they can't be doing work west of there and continuing that process in my mind.
Thank you. And part of it too is, you know, I would think in a moment of clarity, a Heineken moment in my man cave on Sunday when I was contemplating life, when I was putting together my thoughts, the idea being that if the two projects were to advance, and advance is a very generous term because the western Petawawa, Pembroke, Stonecliff project wouldn't dig a hole tomorrow to start, so it's a few years off. But at the same time, that then allows the leverage to close the gap in the middle, because that's the great unknown at this point. And Mayor, or Councillor Wisniewski, more.
Thank you. I guess it's been a few years since we had a delegation that came in here concerning that moving on the other side of the lake. And I don't have, because I don't sit on the operations committee, I wonder if we could be given an update. Walter, you said you're hearing rumors and those kind of things. We did have a huge delegation came in here. I don't know who's here too. 10 years ago? Okay. And so I'd like to know could we be given an update, I don't know, about what's happening in direction about that. Walter's saying everything's on standstill, so is that basically the answer, that they're going to tell us that they haven't done anything? For 10 years, they sat on that. I mean, we had huge, like I said, a huge delegation came to county council, and I'd just like to know if anybody could give a more detailed direction as to what's going on there. Thank you.
Short answer is they haven't sat on it, but there's already been lightning speed progress. But Mr. Hutton and then Councillor Stack.
Yes, it's been a number of years. Mayor Wisniewski is correct. Councillor, I should say. I think we should, as part of this process, get an update from them MTO that we can bring back to council. I know they haven't sat on it. I know the road's been confirmed just recently, and I think the ESA was well underway, if not completed. So I think that's the case, but I think we need an update for committee. While I have the mic, Mr. Warden, just a couple of other matters that I'd like to bring up. For the new councillors, the province did ask the County of Renfrew for a business case. It was former Minister Shirley, probably about 4 years ago. We met with them in Toronto several times as a delegation. They asked the County of Renfrew, this was the first time precedent thing, to do a business case for extending the highway up from Renfrew, and that's what the county did. Well, we went through the business case, so just to have a little history on that. The other matter, I think that if once we decide on the resolution, or what we're doing with this resolution, we have requested a delegation of Roma Ogre with the minister, so we need, that's coming up in February, we need a position by then. Our present position is that the area from Renfrew to Renfrew be included in the 5-year plan of the province. That's been the county's position for probably 6 or 8 years. So I think, to me, that position still makes sense, and I'd like some direction from council. A, do we take this back and update the business case? And then B, what do we do for Roma?
Stack and then Sweet, please.
Just for clarification, we have a pretty good working relationship with both Toronto and Kingston office. I did not say it was at a standstill. I said that they said there were more complex issues, and with the going in the other side of the road, and not all of the homework was done. And I just got the sense myself in those one-on-one conversations that there's going to be more of an expanded timeline on those activities, which may be unavoidable. And if that's the case, then there may be an opportunity to look at at the other end of it as part of the process. But again, taking it back to development of property and method of reviewing this, part of that should be getting a status update from the ministry in terms of where things are at.
Yeah, just to consolidate what we've had at this point is that we will, at the end of this discussion, likely, and hopefully and realistically we should, advise our development and property committee with some cooperation from operations to review the existing business case, update it, bring in information about the MTO's progress and their plans. The focus would remain on completing Westford from Shield with the secondary examination and advancement of a discussion point about then aggressively pursuing the development of 4-laning from somewhere west in Leith Hill or east into Leith Hill through past Stonecliff with time frame, assessment, planning, land acquisition. And I see Councillor Sweet. And then Wisniewski more.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I know the CEO talked about a meeting in Toronto with the minister. It's my understanding that meeting is for the County Road 51, Petawawa Boulevard, not the Trans-Canada. And in fairness, I don't know how many of those meetings that I've attended over the years, the 15-minute blurb that you get with the minister, I don't believe we could do justice to this, what I see as a very, very important initiative. I think we're going to be hard-pressed to do justice to the County Road 51 initiative. My suggestion here would be take it all, send it back, and do an in-depth analysis of what is happening today. And part of that analysis would require input from the various players that are causing some of the problems along the road, i.e. Garrison, Petawawa, and the Canadian and Colombian borders. We know there's movement with COCO to move the yardsticks on that. What does that mean 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? And Garrison, Petawawa has moving incrementally. They're increasing their employment base as we speak. As I said to you before, 500 odd soldiers were added to that particular garrison called Squadron 450, which put another 1,400 people on the ground with dependents and children, etc. What are their expansion ideas? What are their challenges? Only the base, the garrison commander could help us understand that. So in my view, Mr. Warden, if we are to do credit to this, if we're talking millions of dollars that we're asking additional to the other project that is coming from the east to the west, then I think we have to really do an in-depth analysis of where we're going with this and really update the business case that Bob Shirelli asked and we presented to him 2-3 years ago.
Yes, to clarify, we have two requests in, one to deal with County Road 51 and the other to deal with Highway 17. The focus of Highway 17 request was to make sure it gets on the 5-year plan. So at that point, we would suggest that we're reviewing we'd like it to remain on to get on the 5-year plan, and then secondly, we'll be presenting a renewed, revised business plan, hopefully in the fall. Is our approach. Councillor Sweet,
just to follow up, in my view, it's nice to go in and talk to these ministers. But by the time you introduce your delegation, somebody's knocking on the door telling you your time's up. If you want to get some meaningful dialogue with the minister and their staff, to me, it would require a separate meeting, and we've been successful with that in the past. Once we've got all of our information together, and we have prided ourselves in, when we approach these ministers, that we have the data, supported with the data, and I think that's going to take some time. I'm not sure that we can do that, quite frankly. And from my point of view, as I said, I think we have to go back and do justice to what that we're asking for here. Thank you.
Thank you, and that's exactly the message we intend to give, is that we would be back with a reviewed business case, likely in the fall, and try and set something at that time. Councillor Wisniewski-Moore and then Councillor Murphy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Just a point of clarification. Mr. Hutton, when I asked the question if we could be given an update, you thought it was a good idea to invite the ministry people to come to the committee. Would the consideration be given that they come to County Council instead of the committee? I don't know, it would be up to the warden, of course.
My preference would be to have them come to committee, because there's a little further discussion at that point, but we'll throw open the invitation as always to all county councillors.
Okay, so if we could be notified just if that was happening, because I don't sit in operations, but I sure would like to be part of being able to hear what they have to say. So thank you, Mr. Warden.
Sure, and I have every confidence in Chair Murphy to organize that circus. Chair Murphy?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Actually, anything I was going to say was just said by Councillor Sweet. I think that just for the benefit of the new members, these delegations are wonderful to have when you go to the conferences. However, they are very fast, and Councillor Sweet said it. You go in, you introduce yourself, you introduce the people that are with you, and you hardly even get your words out before somebody is knocking at the door. So I do agree that I think instead of going in a haphazard manner, we only have one DMP committee and one operations committee before Roma Ogra. I think that this is going to take some time if we want to do it properly, and I think it would be best left for a separate meeting where we have time and no time constraints. Thank you.
Thank you for repeating that, because that's essentially, you're right, that's what we would do. Okay, thank you. So what I'm going to suggest then is that we remove this resolution from the package, go forward with the instruction to staff that DMP come back to the the February meeting in consultation with operations management to provide a plan going forward, which involves the review of the existing business plan. At the same time, we will limit our requests to the ministry in the short term to County Road 51, and if we have a separate delegation about Highway 417, we'll talk primarily about the review of the business case coming up perhaps for a meeting in the fall when we have it here and approved by council. And secondly, the primary focus of that meeting on 417 at that time, or any discussion, would be to get it into the 5-year plan. As part of the process, we would try and get an update on what I'm going to call the dark area in the Cobden area to make sure that we're fully cognizant of what's going on there and any timelines that are updated by NTO. Does that make sense to everybody?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So with that, could I have a motion to remove item number 6, please? Councillor Sweet. Second, Councillor Doncaster. Discussion. All those in favor? It's passed. Thank you. Thank you for your patience on that, council, as we worked our way through. You know, the committee very quickly realized this was going to be an issue that needed further discussion, and so thank you to the committee for allowing that to come forward to here, and the council for their patience as we worked our way through it and came out with a pretty good solution. Item number 7, Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Ward. One of the benefits of living in a very small community is I know that we have 8 individuals in our community that are employed at CNL and at Garrison Petawawa. 2 of those are on a part-time basis. So in any future language, I think we should say we're talking about 4-laning west to east from Deep River east, just so that we don't have stone put up there where it's really not going to happen.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7, report as a whole. Mover, please.
So moved.
You've heard the motion, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you very much, council. Development of property, Chair Sweet, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden, members of the County Council. We, the Development and Property Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows. Such few items are for information. The Planning Division Activity Tracker to be found on page 85. You see some of the stats there that are being put into that report. Item number 2 is the OPP facility at 450 O'Brien Road. The project update or summary can be found on page 86. Media releases from Canada's high-speed internet providers. As you recall, there was some concern with the cancellation and the auction of the 3500 megahertz spectrum. The minister, and thanks to our resolution from this council, went to that to the minister, and you can see the statement that under no circumstances will our government take spectrum license away from any local internet service providers. As you may recall, that could have affected 11,000 homeowners in the southern part of the county, and we paid a substantial amount of money to the EORN to bring that service so that the ISPs could connect to it. So that is in fact good news. Item 4 is the Canadian Nuclear Laboratories on restructuring. We've had a number of meetings with lobbyists down in Ottawa, and the work that the warden is doing to keep people aware, communities aware. He's outgoing and making presentations to many of the lower tier municipalities on this particular initiative. There also was a letter from John Yakubowski. Forestry and value added processes. You see there's going to be a meeting in the Processing and Economic Development Committee and with Haggerty and Richards. And similarly, Agriculture and Business Group, this committee advises and assists economic development on agricultural issues. Events and conferences, one of the key thrusts of development of property is to try and open up the county of Renfrew to the various conferences and seminars and groups like that. And you see the freestyle or world kayaking championships are going to be held here later on in 2015. That's a huge event. They had it here about 10, 12 years ago, and it was supported by how many countries? 14, 20, 30 countries. It's not like a mini Olympics that was well done by Mr. Kowalski. And one of the reasons, just so that you know, that they were able to get that there was the ability to have broadband connectivity bandwidth, which was supplied through the ERM. Without that, they would not have been able to apply for that particular conference. So that is something that they intend to continue to push events and conferences, etc., to bring individuals into the county. Item number 8, you see the tourism profile and the spending and the number of visitors that are scheduled or came in 2011, 2012. Hopefully we'll see that go over 2 million visitors coming into the county, which is good news. Consultation on the Enterprise Renfrew County Starter Company. You can see that acceptable business plans up to $5,000 for that available. The process is in place to access those funds. Link trail strategy, a lot of interest in trails at this point in time, and we're going to take a look at that again from an update of our trail strategy, which is a little bit dated at this point in time. There's been tremendous movement. The Canadian Laboratory is restructuring. County Council approved the utilization of $15,000 from Rural Economic Development, the RED, reserved to engage and serve our government relations for the purpose of effectively communicating our objectives to the government of Canada. And I can tell you, I sat in on one such meeting with the public relations individual, and a great asset to us to get our message through. And I think the warden has had 2 or 3 meetings with that person in attendance, so I think it's very good value for the money. You see the resolution number DPCC 150103, moved by the chair, second by committee. The committee recommends that council rescind resolution number DPC 140984 and that $15,000 to engage the service of the government relations firm for the purpose of communicating our Canadian nuclear laboratory restructuring objectives to the federal government be paid from the 2014 Economic Development Special Projects budget. All of which is respectfully submitted by myself as chair, members Doncaster, Eamon, Gibson, McKay, Miller, and Patrick.
Thank you. Councillors, questions, comments, concerns, item number 1, item 2, 3, 4. I should note we're still making presentations, but some municipalities have asked instead of a presentation for a briefing document and a motion, and we'll be sending those out. If they're not already sent out, we'll be sending those out the next little while to the ones that have asked just for the information and not the presentation. I don't understand why you want to come to your council, but I'll accept that. Thank you.
Mr. Ward.
Yes, ma'am.
My council was unanimous in asking for a briefing.
Wow. I was at your council once, wasn't I? I can understand that then. Item number 5, please. Item 6, 7. Item 8, good news for the increase in visitors and spending. Item 9. Item 10. Item 11. Report as a whole. Mover, please.
So moved, Mr. Warden.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, Council. And Chair Ms. Neski-Moore, please, for help.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Members of County Council, we, your Health Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows. Information item number 1 is on health links. Number 2 is the Ebola readiness. Number 3 is the bypass agreement. Number 4 is information on the DFib program. Number 5 is the electrical costing review for the lodge. Number 6 is the Senior Adult Day Program at the Manor. Resolutions. Resolution number HCC 150101, moved by the chair, seconded by committee. The county council approved that Miramichi Lodge Policy G004 Home Organizational Chart be revised to reflect the 2 full-time nursing secretary 1 positions to report to the admin supervisor, and further that the County of Renfrew organizational chart be amended accordingly. Bylaws, resolution number HCC 150102, moved by the chair, seconded by committee, that County Council authorize the warden and the CAO clerk to sign the performance indicator schedule D of the 2013 to 16 long-term care home service accountability agreement, the LSAA, between the homes and the Champlain Local Health Integration Network, and further that a bylaw to amend bylaw 2813 be passed at the next session of County Council to include Schedule D, all of which is respectfully submitted by myself as chair and committee members Doncaster, Donahue, Eamon, Kingsbury, Love, and Runwell.
Thank you. Comments, questions, concern for council item number 1? Item 2? 3, item 4, item 5, item 6. Councillor Robbins.
Yes, Mr. Warren, I'm just curious as to what type of program is provided to the participants in the day program.
I would ask for Ms. Sheedy, please. Or sorry, Mr. Holke, sorry. Reading as fast as I could here.
Through you, Warden, to committee, or to county council. The programs offered by the day program, I'm supposing what you're asking for is what activities are done throughout the day. You just give some examples, crafts, current events, these types of activities, and also they do external activities. They'll take them to hockey games, football games, community events, that kind of thing. So transportation provided there and back, and supervision the whole time. So the whole day is structured, so there's some form of activity going on. There's baking, participation in the meal in the afternoon. They may help with the cooking, that kind of stuff. So there's activities all day.
Thank you. Item number 7. Item number 8, report as a whole. Mover, please.
I so move, Mr. Warden.
For the motion, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, council. And with that, Chair Robinson, but she advises me first she'd like to have Mr. Anderson give a quick update to the county council about the fire at Vimy, cautioning council that we will not be disclosing any information which is private in nature about the fire, but it's just a general update for you in case you've had questions from the committee.
Thank you, Warden, Chair, members of County Council. As the Warden indicated in his opening remarks, I'll give you just a brief update of where we are on the fire that occurred at 41 Vimy Avenue in Renfrew, Ontario, on Wednesday, January 7th. We did receive a fire call at 11:50 a.m. For those not familiar with the building, it's kind of built in an L shape. It's 42 units. It's a wood structure, 2-story. On the north side, which was the side impacted by the fire, there are 24 units. And on the south side, not so impacted by the fire, there are 18 units. So what we did upon notification of the fire is that we immediately evacuated the building. We happened to have staff on site that day, and believe it or not, it was fire alarm testing day. So from that point of view, we were very quick to react. And what we did immediately is, on evacuation of the building, is we set a staging area up on another building that you own in the town of Renfrew at 236 Hall Avenue. And with the assistance of many individuals. And I say many, and I will address that in a more formal nature in a written report, because God forbid if I miss somebody as I go down my list here. But I will touch on a couple of main players. System in place presently. It's been severely compromised. Certainly on the north side of the building where the fire was, most of the wiring has been burnt out, and the electrical system in the building itself has been compromised. I should point out to you that all of our fire systems and safety systems were functioning at the time, and we're thankful for that. We test them regularly. So presently we have 42 units that are vacant. We have 43 individuals that are impacted. What we have indicated is that the north side of the building, that was where the fire occurred, it's going to take us 8 months, is our best guesstimate today at rebuilding this particular part of the building. That wing, 2 units were heavily damaged by fire, water, and smoke. 10 units were impacted by both water and smoke. And I will say to you that I was in the building yesterday, and that although all of the insulation material has been removed from the attic, because the fire did start on the 2nd floor, there's still water running out of the building. The day of the fire was minus 27 below, and the fire department for about 2.5 to 3 hours poured water on that fire. So water runs downhill, and you need to be aware of that. So presently, there is no one in the building. We have security on site 24/7. The best estimates that I've given you, the north side of the building that was heavily impacted by fire, 8 months to rebuild. The south side, which really wasn't impacted visibly by the fire, 2 to 3 months. And in the building design, a lot of the electrical wire ran in the attic and through raceways. So fire does funny things, as does water. And a lot of the wiring in the building, when it was originally built in 1975, was aluminum, and it was wrapped in paper. And paper gets impacted by water. So I'll indicate to you that the Electrical Safety Authority has been in the building. Certainly there's no question that the north side of the building has to be totally rewired. Certainly in further exploration by both the ESA, which is the Electrical Safety Authority, and our own people on site, the electrical system on the south side has been compromised and will also need to be rewired, is our belief presently. Our insurer, which is the Ontario Housing Corporation through a division called SOHO, has been up to the site twice, and as late as yesterday we were on site looking at the building. We're in the process, of course, of putting together a game plan. Our insurer has on standby at all times a company called First On Site, coincidental, but they do disaster restoration. And they've been in the building since day one. We've used a lot of local contractors, both electrical, carpenters, and indeed a local disaster restoration company to secure the building. As you can appreciate, the building, or the fire started on the 2nd floor. The fire itself jumped the firewall, so went out of the building and came back in. There's 70 feet of roof trusses compromised. So what we've been focusing on, number one, is securing the building and securing the trusses so that if there is a snowstorm, at some point we will get some additional snow here in the county of Renfrew, that the building will not be further compromised. So we've secured that up. Our focus really so far has been on 4 main issues. Number one, our tenants. Number two, your building. Number three, even though we're dealing with this disaster, business goes on. And number four, communication. And maybe I'll just touch on that briefly, Chair and Warden, and wrap up my presentation. As I indicated, currently our building is empty. We really have been focusing on our tenants, making sure that, number one, their needs are met, both in the community, short-term and long-term, because they are out of the building and will not be going back into the building until such time as that the electrical issue has been addressed and we have a working fire system. So your staff in Renfrew have really been coordinating placements out in the community, in local motels, family, friends, and some of our other apartment complexes that we have in the area. Key is communication. So both with the tenants and the people that they have as secondary contacts, we spend an awful lot of time on the phone and continue to do that because we think it's very important that the left hand and the right hand knows what's going on. And so we've spent a great deal of time doing that. We're also working with a number of our tenants' insurance companies because it's important that their needs get met either by their insurance company or ours. With respect to your building, as I said, it's empty and it's secured. I have reported through the local media and to my own committee that the estimates, and these are estimates as I stand before you today, and they're changing as we continue to peel back the layers of the onion and look at the building. To demolish the building and clean up after the fire, $500,000. To restore the building, just on the fire side, is $1.5 million. Those are estimates. We are working diligently in securing those numbers and having something a little more concrete to bring both to the Social Services Committee and to this chamber. We're not under any false illusions, and I did speak to my own committee today, that there will be costs to the county of Renfrew over and above some of the insurance costs. I talked about the electrical system on the south side that really, the main feeder lines have been compromised, but there are other parts of the system that haven't been compromised, and it is aluminum wire. And one of the things the Electrical Safety Authority has said to us that they want us to verify that the electrical system meets code. So what happens when you get into a fire situation or you start rebuilding a building, this building was built in 1975 to code. The code has changed. And so we will have to build to the new code as we repair the building. Timelines, again, we've had our insurer up twice. We've got people on site right now. Everything is being coordinated through our insurance company. And as best possible, we're going to utilize them to do that. First on site is a company that they have an Ontario-wide contract with. They've done work with the Ontario Housing Corporation before. Presently, we're very comfortable with what they're saying, although that could change as we go forward. With respect to our regular business, well, business goes on. Although, you know, the fire's been in Renfrew, you have offices in Arnprior and Renfrew, and you have units scattered throughout the county of Renfrew. Through the leadership of your general manager of Renfrew County Housing Corporation, Carol Neal, business continues. We're getting ready to put tenders out into the marketplace if you approve of the budget today. And so, you know, we're getting ready to carry on our regular business. I will say to you that your staff have gone over and above and beyond the call of duty, both on the ground and working with our tenants. As you can appreciate, a fire causes a lot of angst to many people. And so these folks, we know them well in Renfrew. And they're really part of our housing family. So it's not something you can farm out to somebody else to do. So your staff have taken on the additional work in-house and have done a superb job, and that needs to be acknowledged. With respect to communication, well, it's 2015 and social media rules and the media rules. I think they've done a superb job for us getting the message out, and we'll continue to work on that. There always is a great deal of interest in a fire, and to rebuild after a fire is a process. You know, everybody wants the answers yesterday, yet there's a process that you have to go through. And you know, as I said in my opening remarks, as you take apart a building, you find out things, and we are. Although I think, you know, we're going to come back with a very manageable plan, a very organized plan. I'm very confident that we can do that for you. I think to conclude, we're moving forward as quickly as possible. You know, your building is secure. We've got security on site. Your tenants are looked after. We continue to communicate with them. We're working with our insurer. We're getting ready to work with the restoration of the building. And it all takes a little bit of time. And we're cognizant that the clock is ticking. I think from there, what I will continue to do with my own committee and through them to County Council is keep you updated as to what's going on. But it is going to be a long process. And I think if we're going to rebuild the building, we need to do it right. Not quickly, but right. And that's kind of the approach that we're taking. I think, Mr. Warden, I'll conclude. If there are questions of a general nature, I'll be happy to take them if you wish.
First, Chair Robinson, and then we'll move to Councillor Murphy.
Through Mr. Warden to Mr. Anderson, I would just like to commend you and your staff. I think that the compassion and dedication that your staff has shown to these displaced people is incredible under a very stressful situation. And I also think we can't forget the fact that it's stressful for the tenants. It's also very, very stressful for your staff. And again, thank you very much.
Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. If I may, I agree totally with Councillor Robinson, but I'd like to read something that one of Dave Anderson's staff sent to me. She says, Dave was awesome. He was with us for the last 2 days, helped us serve food and coffee. He worked side by side with us, and it was amazing. Never have I been so proud to work for the county and say those are our supervisors.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. And with that, Chair, the report, please.
Thank you. And I will stumble through my very first time, just taking notes as everybody else was doing there, so bear with me, please. So, Mr. Warden, members of County Council, we, your Social Services Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows. Under information, the Ontario Works caseload statistics are there. Again, please note that there's a new system happening, and I think the jury's out on how well that's going, but they're making their way through. Number 2 is child care statistics. I go down. Number 3 is the Renfrew County Social Housing Registry waitlist statistics. Number 4 is the Renfrew County Housing Corporation, information there. Number 5 is the Palmer Rapids Water Treatment System. There's a 2-story, 21-unit apartment complex in Palmer Rapids, and we are accountable and liable to ensure that the water is of the quality that people need to be safe and secure. Please note about the Ontario Clean Water Agency is proposing a 5-year term from March 1st, 2015 to February 28th, 2020, with an annual cost of $44,291. It is important members of the municipal council, municipal officials with decision-making authority over the drinking water system understand they are personally liable, even if the drinking water system is operated by a corporate entity other than the municipality. And they did request at the committee to find out. I understand that we get the water testing results once a year. Now, I do know in my municipality it's quarterly, so I just want to check to make sure that that's how it has to happen for us as well. Number 6 is the New Ontario Social Assistance Management System, SAMS. And there's a few comments there that are worth reading. Number 4 is the investment in affordable housing for Ontario. The program objectives, I think, are key to this, and the program components as well. Number 8, the Child Care and Early Years Act 2014. It will have significant implications for child care services in this area for sure. Certainly, I know that Mr. Anderson can expand on that if anyone's interested. Number 9 on the resolutions, the GT Seniors Apartment request for additional funding. Please note in the second paragraph, non-profit housing providers are finding it increasingly difficult meeting provincial mandated legislation, Sustainable Water and Sewer System Act, health and safety regulations, as well as increased utility costs. And the Corporation of the County of Renfrew has supported additional funding to the following non-profit housing providers, and they're listed there for your information. In August, the Social Service Committee received a request from GT Seniors Apartments for additional funding to cover increased operating costs to the tune of $25,000. The $25,000 was provided, and you'll notice that there's a resolution attached today. Resolution number SS-CC-15-1-4, moved by the chair and seconded by committee. The county council approves that an additional $25,000 annually be given to GT Seniors Apartments Empire Inc. as an offset to operating costs, all of which is respectfully submitted and signed by myself, committee members Ward Emo, councillors Farr, Gibson, Grants, McKay, Reinwald, and staff.
Thank you. That was easy, wasn't it?
Oh, please.
Questions, comments, concerns from council? Item number 1. Item 2. Item 3. Item 4. Item 5. 6. 7. 8. Item 9, the report as a whole. Mover, please.
So moved.
You've heard the motion. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, council. Bylaws. Councillor Wisniewski, mover, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Tom Peckett that the bylaws listed on item 11 and attached here to a Schedule A on the County Council agenda dated January 28, 2015 be deemed read 3 times and passed.
Council, you've heard the motion. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. Number 12, notice of motions. Seeing none. Members' written motions. Seeing none. New business. Seeing none. Lunch. We'll break now. Lunch will come at 12. We have a closed session scheduled for 1. So we'll break for lunch at this time. We're going to have our photograph at the back of the room at 12:45. If you could reassemble, please. So lunch will be at 12, photograph 12:45, back here and here at 1. We're expecting the closed session to take between 45 minutes to an hour. And with that, we would expect to be out here by about 2 o'clock, 2:15 at the latest, so you can schedule your day. So thank you.
Good afternoon, thank you. Please be seated.
If I could have a motion to move into close to discuss the litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. So Donahue, seconded by Councillor Gibson.
Read 3 times and passed. Bylaw number 9-15.
Thank you, council. You've heard the motion. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And a motion to adjourn, please. Councillor Stack, second Councillor Farr. Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, none? Is carried. Thank you for your time, energy, and...
Is that all one word?